bear fruit, you won't be cut off. The truth is exactly what Jesus said. The things that people believe are revealed by what they say and do. That is, a person is going to express their beliefs both verbally, by what comes out of their mouth, and non-verbally, by what they do. I have been telling you that all along. People always act in accordance with what they believe. If someone has beliefs that contradict the truth of the teaching of Moses, that person is going to say and do things that reveal they don't believe the truth. That is, the lies that a person has chosen to believe are going to manifest themselves in that person, saying or doing things that God finds offensive. That is precisely why the winds blow through the minds of men, to control what people say and do, through the lies that they believe. So if you pay attention, you can easily tell whether a person has actually been born again and believes the truth that the Lord has revealed in the Scriptures. That is what Jesus was talking about, when he said the following, about the truth of the teaching of Moses as the way into eternal life. Matthew chapter 7, verses 13 through 23, my standardized translation. Come in through the narrow gate, because the gate that leads them away to destruction is a thoroughfare, and the way is spacious, and those who come in through it are many. How narrow is the gate, and constricted the way that leads them away into the life? And those who find it are just a few. Beware of the false prophets, those who are going to come to you in sheep's clothing, but are vicious wolves on the inside. You will recognize them by their fruits. They do not by any means cull bunches of grapes from thorns, or figs from thistles. So also, every good tree produces exceptionally good fruit, but the rotten tree produces nasty fruit. A good tree cannot produce nasty fruit, nor a rotten tree produce exceptionally good fruit. Every tree that is not producing exceptionally good fruit is going to be cut off and thrown into a fire. So then, you will indeed recognize them by their fruits. Not everyone who says, Your Majesty, Your Majesty, to me, will come into the kingdom of the heavens, but the one who acts in accordance with the will of my Father, the one who is in the heavens. Many will say to me on that day, Your Majesty, Your Majesty, did we not prophesy in your name, and cast out demons in your name, and do a lot of supernaturally powerful things in your name? And then I will acknowledge the truth about them, that I never knew you. You who are doing the lawless deed, depart from me. If you did not know that Moses and the other prophets of Israel parabolically depict created beings like you and me as trees, now you do. Jesus was merely carrying on the tradition that began with Moses and his depiction of the Garden of Eden. So now that you know that, let me tell you something you need to know about the parabolic fruit that such trees bear. It consists in words and deeds, which are the manifestation of the things that such creatures believe. That's what John the Baptist had in mind when he said the following to those fools who firmly believed the oral tradition of the Pharisees. Matthew chapter 3, verses 5 through 10, my standardized translation. Then Jerusalem and all Judea and the whole area around the Jordan began going out to him, and those who were admitting the truth concerning their sins were being baptized in the Jordan River by him. But after seeing many of the Pharisees and Sadducees coming for his baptism, he said to them, Descendants of vipers, who gave you an indication that you should flee from the anger that is going to come? Therefore, produce fruit worthy of your apology, and not assume that you can say to one another, We have a father, Abraham, for I tell you that the living God can raise up children for Abraham out of these stones. But the axe is already laid at the root of the trees. Therefore, every tree that is not producing exceptionally good fruit will be cut off and thrown into a fire. To understand the things the prophets and apostles state in terms of the parabolic image, in which created beings like you and me are depicted as trees, you need to keep in mind something I have told you repeatedly. You are what you believe. And when the things you believe manifest themselves in your words and deeds, those words and deeds are parabolically like the fruit that Paul mentions in this passage. Galatians chapter 5, verses 16 through 24, my standardized translation. But I say, walk in spirit, and you will definitely not complete a selfish desire of flesh. For the flesh desires things against the spirit, then the spirit against the flesh. For these two are opposed to one another, so that whatever it may be that you want to do, you do not do these things. So if you are being led by spirit, you are not subject to law. Now the works of the flesh is well known, which is sexual promiscuity, uncleanness, licentiousness, idolatry, drug dealing, hostilities, conflict, jealousy, rages, self-centeredness, disagreements, sex, envy, drunkenness, festivities, and the things that are just like these things, which I tell you in advance, just as I told you before, that those who are involved in such things will not inherit God's kingdom. But the fruit of His Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, benevolence, goodness, belief in God's promise, gentleness, self-control. There is no law against such things, so those who are part of the Anointed One Jesus have crucified the flesh along with its impulse and selfish desires. Did you see the word crucified in that passage? Now you know every true believer must pick up a cross on which his physical body, the flesh, can be crucified, so that it dies.